City's Achilles heel in this competition over recent years is making silly mistakes and letting teams off the hook at key times at the knockout stages. And they've done it again today. Not to say they're going to do it in Madrid, in the Bernabeu in a week's time, but they've done it again today when they could have been taking a 2, maybe 3-goal lead to Spain.
Isn't that the sequence that you just described there with Fernandinho and Vinicius Jr., isn't that a microcosm of the game? In that you think Manchester City, in the way that Fernandinho took that ball forward, served it over to Phil Foden, they scored the 4th goal, you think, well, okay, this is it. There's no way, no chance that Real Madrid is going to come back now. But then the same participants, the same protagonists, in the same sort of play, and there's a totally different outcome in which now you see Vinicius Jr. going and scoring on the other side. Just when you thought, at every point in this game, when you thought that Manchester City was going to be far superior to Real Madrid, and they were going to be the better team, and they were going to score the goals, and they were going to have a lead, a big lead going into the second leg, Real Madrid was just there to capitalize on mistakes. And this is what they have been doing over the course of this competition. Against PSG, they did the same thing, and it's a group that if you allow to hang around, they're going to bite you in the end. Manchester City just allowed Real Madrid some life that they didn't need to.
And yeah, they had tightened it up, Manchester City, Nedum, defensively in these knockout stages of the Champions League before this. So how's Pep going to be feeling after this game with what he saw from his defenders?
I think he'll find some positives, but for those goals, you know, they are avoidable. Even for the penalty, like, City had the ball, Phil Foden had the ball on the left-hand side, and he tried to play something fancy, and he gives away a free kick. But to encourage pressure when the game is at that particular point was a mistake. And then for Laporte himself, you know, it has flicked off his head, but the mistake is you've not made better contact, because if you do, it's not going to hit your arm. So for them, you know, they did sort of become the architects of their own downfall. But I suppose for Pep, he's going to look at it and understand that it's the mistakes that kind of allowed Real Madrid to get back into the game. And in some ways, you believe that when you go out onto the field next time, you'll be able to deal with some of those and maybe not make them again. And I think if that's to be the case, as Craig was alluding to, when City move the ball quickly, at times they're almost unplayable. And that Madrid midfield, they're really good on the front foot. But when you're finding people like Kevin De Bruyne behind you, you know, obviously Casemiro might be back for the second leg. But from what I'm hearing as well, I think Kyle Walker, Cantella, and so on are going to be available for next week anyway. So I think it's just, for them, you know, they know their mistakes. They weren't outplayed by Real Madrid by any point, and they'll be disappointed that it's just 4-3. But then the big positive is they scored 4 goals. They have a lead, and they know that a win or a draw in Madrid gets them into the Champions League final, which at the end of the day is the main objective for this round.